One of my projects for today was to add a spigot in the basement so we could fill buckets of water with water that has not been ran through the water softener or the water filtration system so that we can use that to water our plants and for the fish tanks. I had never done anything with PEX before, but I thought this seemed pretty straightforward, so I thought I'd give it a try. I first had to cut the main line that comes from the water pressure tank up to the water filtration system, and I cut that line after I shut off the water in both directions to keep the backflow of water onto the floor to a minimal. I slipped the crimp rings over the 3/4 inch PEX on both sides of the PEX pipe, and there's a nice snug fit to them. And then I insert the T off of each one of these pipes and just slid the PEX over the T. There was a bit of rust buildup inside this PEX where I had to crimp it, so I thought I'd better take a second and clean that out. I don't know if it's necessary or not. I had never done this before, but I figured better safe than sorry. After sliding the T into the 3/4 inch pipe so that I had my post pointing north, I grabbed my crimper, and this was probably the most expensive piece to this entire project. Everything else was fairly cheap. I spent around 60, 70 bucks on this crimper, but now I have one for the next project. And it's as simple as putting the crimper over the actual crimp ring and just applying a good amount of pressure and crimping that ring down to a smaller size so the ring is crimped and holds the PEX pipe onto the T. Seems to be a nice solid fit, so I'm going to move over and do the next one. If that's really all there is to this project, this is way easier than what I thought it would be, and I should have been doing PEX all along. Now I want to measure the height that I want, and here is the bucket. So most 5-gallon buckets are around the same size. So I got my pipe cut, and I got the crimp rings slid onto both ends already. That way I don't forget to do it. I just had to slide the pipe over the piece of the T that's pointing up and crimp that ring really good. I did each one of these rings twice just for good measure, but I don't really think that it was necessary. I don't feel productive on that second crimp. I slide my elbow into that 3/4 inch pipe that I have pointing up, and I crimp that ring that I have right at the top of the pipe there and below the elbow. Takes a good amount of pressure to crimp those rings down, but it holds nice and good. And then I just need to measure where I want to cut the pipe to have my spigot sticking out so it hangs over a bucket. Cut that pipe really quick, and it's super easy. You can actually use a box cutter, but I actually bought a PEX pipe cutting tool. They're fairly cheap. I think I spent $20, $25 on mine. And then slide the crimp rings onto both ends of that pipe. We're going to crimp this one here. And it's as easy as just applying the pressure, crimp the ring, slide that spigot pipe over the elbow, and crimp that ring. And this crimp tool can do 3/4 inch or 1/2 inch. That's why you see the smaller circle at the end of the crimp tool there. And now I just have to turn the water back on, and no leaks. So let's see what kind of water pressure we got. That is way too easy and way simple. I should have been doing this PEX stuff all along. It's way easier than soldering.